Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Castle Xanadu, dark, foreboding, built atop a still functioning alien base at the center of the Earth. Much of this extensive base remains unexplored, although I am accelerating efforts to probe the lower levels with robots and drones, following an unfortunate incident where hordes of strange life forms I call Silenians swarmed up from the lower levels. These things hunted by hearing, and would savage anything that dared make a sound. I am still uncertain as to whether these things were in some kind of stasis field that malfunctioned, or if they came in via some dimensional portal somewhere, but one thing is clear. In case they return, I'm building a tunnel straight to Disney, and I'm blaring It's a Small World After All on Spinal Tap's amplifier that goes to 11. Ha! Let's see what that does to Disney's stock. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and let me tell you, all the hordes of attacking Silenian devils driven to a frenzy by It's a Small World After All, played on a loop at high speed, so it sounds like Justin Bieber on helium, could not possibly do as much damage to Disney as Kathleen Kennedy has. That said, the Silenian invasion effectively shut down my Pop Culture Breakdown live stream last Wednesday, but I'm happy to say to all of you that Pop Culture Breakdown returns tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we will be reviewing Barbie. Is it a woke nightmare or a nuanced parody of wokeness? Our panel of pop culture pundits will weigh in on this question and more about Disney and the news of the day, so tune in to that. But let's get back to tonight's report. During her tenure as president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy utterly wrecked the Star Wars franchise, creating shows and movies that were not merely badly crafted stories, but shows and movies that were actively hostile to the franchise and the fan base that actually wrecked lore and canon. I have some astonishing new reporting about just how disastrous Kennedy's misguided approach to Star Wars and alleged overspending has been for Lucasfilm, so awful in fact that Iger's so-called Five Horsemen of the Bobpocalypse and their army of Nazgul accountants are homing in on Kennedy's alleged excesses and incompetence, using that as an excuse to change the culture at Lucasfilm. Seems that Luke Skywalker under Iger's Horsemen is not a member of the patriarchy to be reviled as a coward. No, he's a hero. It's a new day at Lucasfilm, and while it may be a day late and billions of dollars short, Iger's Five Horsemen are allegedly cleaning house now. Not only Kennedy, but now all her flying monkeys, minions, toadies, and cronies are being targeted as well. Why, you ask? A longtime source of mine that I'll call the skeptical one, who has ties to Disney, had this to say about the changes being instituted by the Five Horsemen at Lucasfilm. Quote, "Make no mistake, this is going to be a nightmare for anyone who has supported the woke agenda. The Horsemen are out for blood. The blood of all those who decided that the Force is female and that it did not matter what the fans wanted, thereby causing the loss of revenue for the most popular intellectual property in the world." Unquote.
Shit. So what does this mean, dude? Is this a fundamental shift in the official attitude at Lucasfilm when it comes to Star Wars?
I really don't know, Harvey Cthulhu. If the recent rumors are true, that KK had a clause in her contract that Disney couldn't terminate Kennedy for cause, a clause that George Lucas wanted to ensure that his legacy would be protected, and it would have worked if Kennedy hadn't betrayed him, then perhaps Disney hated what she was doing all along, but has stuck with her out of necessity. Maybe they placated her, tried to minimize the damage she was doing to the franchise with workarounds by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, all of which in the end proved ineffective. I really don't know for sure, but according to the skeptical one, it appears that it's morning at Lucasfilm, and the Five Horsemen of the Bobpocalypse are through fucking around. The rumored essay that they forced one of KK's people to write about the vital importance of Luke Skywalker all the interrogations of KK's allies that are going on behind the scenes all point to a new philosophy about the work product of Lucasfilm moving forward, all prompted by the horrible fiscal failures of Star Wars under Kennedy's reign. Indeed, it's safe to say that the Horsemen are homed in on KK and her minions. Disney is clearly upset about how Kathleen Kennedy corrupted and destroyed their precious franchise, and now for whatever reason, whatever the accountants have turned up, whatever evidence or emails may have provided, it seems the gloves are off, and Iger feels empowered to deal with her at last. In this video, I will report some frankly astonishing new information about just how much Disney allegedly sank into Kennedy's failed money sinkhole, the Galactic Starcruiser Hotel. Kennedy talked Disney into going all in on this hotel, according to sources, to a crazy extent that's enough to make any sane accountant's head explode. And let me tell you, if this rumor is true, the halls of Lucasfilm are currently splattered with brains, eyeglasses, and those little green visors that accountants wear.
You know, Iger brought back 2 former heir apparents to the CEO position in an attempt to boost the stock price. He isn't screwing around anymore. He can't afford to. The quarterly investor call is coming up. Iger knows he's out of time, and he can no longer play around with woke bullshit and runaway spending anymore. As Kenny Loggins famously said, this is it. And as Elvis famously said in his final words, it's time to shit or get off the pot. Sadly, he got off the pot forever, as it turns out, but that's not the point. Tell us, Doomcock, what's the latest your sources have told you about the Galactic Starcruiser Hotel?
Let me share what I was told, O Skull of Calderon. At this point, I must state that what I'm about to tell you is information provided to me by sources claiming knowledge of this situation, but since I cannot personally verify any of this, I am presenting it as unverified rumor, and I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. Okay, let's discuss the debacle of the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser Hotel. Now, the huge and nigh unto incomprehensible mistake they made with this hotel from day one was ignoring real Star Wars and instead making the hotel centered on the sequel trilogy. This was sheer madness and testimony to Kennedy's inflated ego. She knew what Star Wars was better than George Lucas did. She had perfected Star Wars. She knew what fans wanted, and hers was the bestest Star Wars ever. Kevin Costner told her, build it and they will come. But it turns out Kevin Costner was bullshitting her about that because fans didn't come. They didn't come so hard and so fast that the entire enterprise will be shutting down after only 18 months of operation. It was a tiny hotel that could only accommodate 100 guests at a time, and even then they couldn't sell it out. Many voyages of the SS Minnow, the Galactic Starcruiser, set sail with less than fully booked rooms, and they had to cancel many dates entirely until finally they canceled all the dates. And this misbegotten monument to KK's ego will take its final voyage in September. So this hotel was an incredible failure and a waste of Disney's investment. But exactly how much was that loss? How much did Disney invest in this failed hotel? Previously, I had been told that Disney spent upwards of $2 billion on this thing all told, which absolutely blew my mind. But hold on, folks. According to one source, it's even worse than that.
Are you shitting me, dude?
I shit you not, Harvard J. Cthulhu. No. I was discussing Kennedy's out-of-control spending with my source codenamed the Skeptical One, and I mentioned that the losses associated with the hotel's failure were substantial. My source replied, quote, "You are correct, and I happen to know the loss of the hotel is calculated at $4 billion.
What?
Yes, that's correct. $4 billion. The technology in the hotel was incredible. Too bad it wasn't based on the rebellion era. That would have brought in millions of fans even at the ridiculous $6,000 prices, unquote. To which I replied, good Lord, $4 billion? Really? Wow, that is insane. How could they be so crazy? The whole fucking franchise cost Disney $4 billion. Was no one paying attention? I guess this is one reason why Disney is in so much trouble at the moment. And the skeptical one replied, quote, "Yes, it is one of the major reasons for the financial ruin that is Disney right now. The building construction alone was $350 million. Then add in the technology, actors, interactive story, production costs for the filmed portions, and the loss of everything, bam, $4 billion, unquote."
Bloody hell! If I had a stomach, I'd throw up. How is it possible that Disney could spend that much on a hotel based around a sequel trilogy that fans despised at a cost of $6,000 a room? $4 billion is essentially doubling what Disney paid for Lucasfilm in the first place.
Now, personally, I find the figure of $4 billion extremely difficult to believe. However, notice that the skeptical one said is calculated at $4 billion. Now, this might well be a form of Hollywood accounting where they are calculating the loss at $4 billion in order to have a bigger write-off down the line. I don't know. I find it absolutely mind-boggling that this figure would be tossed out there, and I would not be presenting it to you today if it weren't for the faith that I have in this particular source that I've known for a long time. So take it for what you will. $4 billion could be simply what Disney is claiming for financial loss calculations to write off on their taxes, or it could actually be the internal calculation that they're trying to keep quiet. I have no idea, but I think that this is newsworthy. Take it with a great deal of salt, however, because my mind is blown. It's no wonder that the Five Horsemen of the Bobpocalypse have seized control of Lucasfilm with alleged spending like that. Now, I'm assuming that the development of whatever new technologies that were implemented in the hotel contributed significantly to the cost, but still, the notion that somehow Disney was so confident in this move that they sank nearly as much money into the hotel as they invested into the franchise itself is just plain crazy. The figure of $2 billion was bad enough, but $4 billion? I don't know, man. I tell you, take it with a grain of salt for sure, I certainly am. But even if it's only $2 billion, that's an incredible loss for Disney, and ample reason for the Horsemen to descend on Lucasfilm and try to salvage something from the wreckage. Don't forget Pop Culture Breakdown tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time, when we will finally review Barbie and discuss the ramifications of its success. We hope to see you there. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.